What's up, YouTube? Capital G here. Got a tidbit of information for you guys to check out. This is all in relation to the 200th YCS that's going to be happening next month. I believe the third week of September, probably like September 22nd to the 23rd. Yeah, that's exactly the date. Looks like Konami is pulling out all the stops, and they want this to be the biggest event of the entire year. To be honest, this might actually be the biggest event Konami has hosted in, I don't know, maybe like the last decade or so, because the scale in which they're actually hosting this tournament is kind of unprecedented when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh! If you guys don't know about the 200th YCS, it's going to be taking place, and I thought this was incredibly impressive, in 3 different countries, all simultaneously in the same weekend on 2 different continents. We've got one in Mexico City, Mexico, one right here in the United States of America in Columbus, Ohio, and then we have one for the European players. I believe it's in the Netherlands, someplace called Utrecht. I'm sorry, I've never heard of it because I've never been to Europe, so please don't kill me if I mispronounce that. But we now know a little information when it comes to some of the prizes that you guys can expect to potentially win if you advance far enough, or some of the prizes that you're just going to get for stepping in the door after you register. Konami has always done a really good job when it comes to celebrating these YCSs and like nationals and stuff like that by giving you good participation prizes. Looks like this is going to be the entry mat of the 200th YCS, and this is really interesting. Not only is it incredibly bright and colorful, it's got gold sarcophagus, which at one point was actually a Shonen Jump prize card. That was the only way you could get it. But this is crazy. It has apparently every single location that the YCS, and I would assume, well, no, it has to be, Shonen Jump series has ever been. So every single city that has ever hosted a YCS or a Shonen Jump championship is on this mat. That's why there's, I can't even read it, but there are like so many different tiny letters. If you live in the United States, if you live in Canada, if you live in Mexico, in South America, if you live in Europe, there's somewhere on here, Oceania. I wonder, no, the Japanese one will be after that. Okay, I was wondering if maybe the first ever YCS that's going to take place in Japan would also have that city on here. Again, I don't know if it's going to be Osaka or Tokyo or whatever, but I guess it won't be on here because that'll actually happen afterwards. But I think that that's pretty dope just for entering. I mean, again, YCS is only $20. I can promise you right now, this mat is going to be worth more than $20, especially if you're smart and you keep it in the plastic. If they do happen to give them out in plastic, sometimes they don't, sometimes they do, but if it came in plastic, I personally wouldn't take it out. We also have another mat that looks absolutely gorgeous, and I'm gonna be real, I'm not the most superficial person when it comes to mats, but I would consider dropping like $150 on it. It's so gorgeous. This is actually going to be the Wynnum mat for these events, and anyone has the opportunity to enter a Wynnum mat if you just, scrub out at the big shebang, the big tournament, and maybe you go 0-2 drop or something like that. This can be a great opportunity for you to pick something up that is definitely going to be worth some money. I can easily see this being a $200 mat, and maybe this one being like $100, but it obviously is going to be popular because no matter what Yu-Gi-Oh series you're a favorite, or excuse me, you're a fan of, it's got you covered with all 6 of the major protagonists. You got Yugi, Jaden, Yusei Fudo, you got Yuma, Yuya, and then Yosaku. I'm gonna say my favorite is, I'm gonna go with Yosaku. Dude, I wanted to like Yuma so much as a character, but I swear to goodness, it was just something about that damn kid. I think it's because he was so young, I just could not relate to him. Like when Zexa was going on, I was in my mid-20s. So I just couldn't relate with him, and he's like, I don't know, like 12 years old or something like that. I couldn't relate to him that much. Then we also have the top cut mat. Now, it doesn't say exactly what the top cut is just going to be. It simply says those who make it to the top cut or the top cut playoffs at each event is going to receive this. I'm guessing that it's going to be top 64, because usually that's when Konami basically cuts off Swiss and you start having single elimination rounds. So usually top 64 is when you officially kind of like, make the day 2 consideration and, you have a legitimate chance of winning. So I'm guessing that the top 64 players for each event are going to walk away with this new Chaos Emperor Armageddon mat. And then finally, The biggest announcement is our YCS prize card has been changed. This is going to be our prize card for the next year. The new Chaos Emperor Dragon of Armageddon. This is actually, I think that this is good, but it's a little forlorn, right? It's a little bittersweet because there are going to be some Chaos Dragon players who are really looking forward to playing this card in their deck. They're almost certainly not going to have access to it because it is a YCS prize card. I think that it could be a similar situation to when Minerva was a YCS promo, and a lot of the Light Swarm players just cried foul because they're like, how the hell are we supposed to get, even at the cheapest, it was like a $750 card in our decks, especially when, Light Swarm run multiple copies of Minerva, a la you might run multiple copies of this if you were playing Chaos Dragons. But I think that it is a little sweet because, I think that in the back of everybody's mind, or at some point, I feel like most Yu-Gi-Oh players at least ran the idea, the possibility that Needle Fiber could have been our next promo, and that would have caused riots in the Yu-Gi-Oh community. Like, for real, I think that the days of like 5Ds and GX where the prize cards were just absolutely broken, Gold Sarcophagus, Cyberstein, Crush Card Virus was one of the most notorious, where the people who had those cards had an overwhelming advantage. Those have pretty much just died off. We've had some good promos, but nothing that is amazingly powerful like that. And I think Needle Fiber would have been one of those cards where, if 5 people in a YCS had access to the card and nobody else did, I don't understand how that would end up being fair. Summon Sorcerers could have been the same thing, but they ended up going with this, and that does mean cards like Cherubini, cards like Needle Fiber, we should probably get those within the next 6 months in the TCG. We know that it can't be a prize card for at least the next year, and I don't think that Konami would hold Needle Fiber and Cherubini out longer than that. That honestly wouldn't make any sense. So it does at least mean that we will not be getting Cherubini and Needle Fiber as prize cards, and there should be decent access to those cards for everybody. I mean, they're probably going to be super rare not secret rare to be honest, but at least with $80 you get the card. Now, it is a little interesting. Konami is actually going to be giving these out to the top 8 for these events for the 200th YCS, and then after that, they'll only be giving out 4 at a tournament, which is, the top 3 players, and then they'll be giving away 1 in kind of like a prize to side events and whatnot. So, you guys let me know what you think. Do you guys believe that this was a good pick for our next prize card? I mean, I think that on one side, it's like, okay, it's nothing too overly powerful. It only works in a couple of decks. But at the same time, I do kind of wonder now, considering that Konami did release all of these 4 dragons, these 4 legendary dragon retrains at the same time in the OCG, how exactly are we going to get the other ones? Because Konami in the TCG has a really bad habit of doing this. In the OCG, they'll release a bunch of cards at once and people will get excited about them. And then in the TCG, they'll just release them all sporadically at completely random times when we have no idea. So it's like, how are we getting the new Dark Arm Dragon, which is the only one that I honestly give a fuck about because Dark Magician and whatnot. But how are we getting the new Judgment Dragon, the new Trishula, etc., etc.? We saw Konami do that with the Link Vrains pack, where who knows when Needle Fiber and Cherubini are coming out in. It's just something that they have a history of doing, but it could have been worse. It could have been Needle Fiber or, God forbid, Cherubini as a prize card. That would have been the ultimate troll, but knowing Konami, I wouldn't have put it past them to put like Fright for Patchwork as a YCS prize card or something like that. Anyways, I've been talking too long. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already, and turn on that notification bell for daily videos.